He got a lot of exercise.
I bet he did. He had some good biceps.
Yeah, had some good foot. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, that gave him a good workout.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's neat that you got it.
yeah, one of our former members, who again another guy passed away. This was part of a museum in Springfield that folded, and then he ended up with it.
And what do you call this thing?
It's a velocipede.
A velocipede.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Now, are you the president of the club or what?
No, Larry's president.
Larry's president of the club.
I'm vice president.
Okay.
And historian, as you could probably figure out.
Yeah. Well, you're involved for sure. Yeah.
Oh, did you see Dave, did you see these pictures? That's the water tank here in Corona.
Oh, okay.
That was down there where Mid-America Siding is. And see in the background, see that depot? That's the original 1886 Corona depot.
Oh, okay.
And these are the only pictures we've been able to find of that building. But you'll notice if you look real close, it looks very similar, if not exactly like the Boston depot.
Uh-huh.
They were both the same railroad,
Grade design.
same standard plan.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So that's why we know the Boston looks like the original Corona.
Well, what I was amazed by when I
Here's
found out
another
these
one.
water towers is that there was a water tower for these trains every 50 miles.
Closer, depending on the time frame.
Yeah.
And depending on
what
the
the run they're
territory.
doing, yeah.
No. Depending on, in the earlier days, they're closer together because the tanks are smaller.
Uh-huh.
Later on, when they have bigger tanks, they're spaced farther apart.
Oh, okay.
So it used to be every 10 miles, you almost had a water tank.
Because they were so small, not because the train couldn't hold more.
Well, yeah, the tank on the steam engine couldn't hold as much water because it's smaller.
Yeah, but then,
Because the locomotives are also much smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there was a tank here, there was a tank in the river bottoms at Chautauqua, there was a tank in Pittsburgh, there was a tank out at Cornell. Of course, there was a tank in Nevada because they had a shop in Nevada.
Okay.
There was tanks all, and if you look at an employee's timetable from back in the day, they will have a W marked for water for all the places you can get water by the
Okay.
station name. Now, like in Pittsburgh, I don't think Pittsburgh actually had a water tank. They had what they call a standpipe, which is just a pipe that comes up with a spout. Okay, that's hooked up to the city water system,
oh, okay.
and so they use city water.
Okay.
And then, like in Cherryville, they had standpipes, but they had a water tank that was like 2 or 3 blocks away, a steel water tank, and they pumped the water over to it. And they had a lake at Cherryville, which was for the steam locomotives. In fact, the lake is called Lake Tanko, Tanko,
Now,
and it's now a city lake.
could you tell me what each of these cars here is called and what it was
Well,
used for? Just real quick. I don't want to go into too much detail, but
This is a Fairmont M9 section car.
Uh-huh.
This would have been an inspection car. Now the seats have been added. It would have been like that one on the end. You rode the board.
Okay.
Originally, you just rode the board.
Oh,
But
okay.
this is what the track inspector would have used to go up and down the track to do a track inspection.
Okay.
And this is a 1937 Buddha gang car. This is off the Joplin and Pittsburgh Electric Railway.
okay.
This is off the streetcar line that went through Weir. In fact, this was sitting in front of the steam engine in the park in Pittsburgh for years.
In front of 1023?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then when we got it, before we got 1023, the Parks Department gave it to us. And we took it out and got it all fixed up. But
And you call this a Buddha car?
yeah, that's the manufacturer.
Oh, okay. That was who made this, Buddha.
1937 Buddha section car for the Joplin and Pittsburgh.
All right, good. All right, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then this car back here, what's it?
That's a KCS. That's another M9. It's basically the same as this car here up front, but it doesn't have the cover. It doesn't have a roof on it.
I see. Oh, okay.
But this one was used by the section man who ran between Joplin and Pittsburgh on the KCS doing his track inspection. And this was stored down in Joplin.
Now this is all manual inspection by eye there, and by
Yeah, and
by what else?
Feel.
By the feel of the track, yeah.
Yeah.
But now they have things that are set up with all the electronics to tell everything just by running over.
That's only when you're doing rail testing. But the track guys, there's a track foreman. He is assigned, or a track inspector, he's assigned a certain amount of track. He goes out in a pickup truck. They got the high rail pickup trucks now with gears on them. He goes out
Oh yeah.
and runs up and down the track, and he still inspects it by sight today.
Oh okay.
But you look for broken rails, loose bolts, rotted ties, dips in the, any of that kind of stuff. But he still does that, and depending on what they call track classification, in other words, what your speed limit is on your track, tells you how often you have to inspect. Like on the Kansas City Southern, their track is where they go. Those guys have to go out almost every day and inspect their territory. Now, like this track out here, it goes through Corona. He has to do that once a week, and you have to go one direction, and then the next day you have to go back the other direction, so you can inspect it both ways. Because sometimes you'll miss something.
Sure, the angle of the view and all.
Depending on what direction you're going.
All right, good. Thank you very much.